Dajahao. My name is Garrick. Welcome back to Taiwan, Laowai. So we are still at the National Palace Museum from last video. I did not get a chance to check out the balcony or the veranda before going into the museum last time. So let's just take a quick look, take in the sights, because my god, this place is truly beautiful. God, it is still so bright and hot today. I have to put my umbrella up to shield me from the sun. Swear to God, it was nice and cool for a couple days after the typhoon passed through, and now it's right back to summer doldrums. But anyway, now that we have finished our museum trip, it is time to continue our Mission Michelin. Yes, our journey to eat at every Michelin-recommended restaurant in Taipei continues on, and today our target is Saffron Indian Kitchen, a Michelin bib-recommended sit-down restaurant up here north at the border between Shilin district and Beitou district. If you recall, this is the second Indian restaurant we've done for this Mission Michelin. My first video for Mission Michelin was on Taj Indian, which is back down south in central Taipei. And Taj was very good. I actually went back there again to celebrate my birthday with some coworkers, and can confirm it's a very good place that you should definitely check out if you're in the mood for Indian and you're in the area. Also, pause that thought for a second. We're going to take a quick walk through this garden that's alongside the main path because, my god, it looks beautiful. This is the experience with me. You gotta wander with me and take in the sights while we talk. Anyways, Taj was a very lovely Indian place. Obviously, it is a bit more convenient to get to than Saffron, since Saffron is all the way up north here. So we will have to see if it is worth the trek up here, if it is worth going out of your way to check out, as opposed to more convenient options in the closer to the center of the city. I remain hopeful though. Michelin has not yet me down yet, and I doubt it intends to start now. So our reservation is at 6 o'clock. It is about 4:40 right now. We've got an hour and 20 minutes to get there, and it is pretty close by bike and bus alike. So we're going to enjoy the scenery in this park, and I'm going to charge my phone a bit because, my god, the battery is getting pretty low. And I will see you again when it is time for dinner. Take care. Alright, one bus ride later, and we are officially in Beitou district, which is, I'm pretty sure, the farthest north that Taipei city goes. Yeah, if you take a peek through this crack in the street right there, we are, missed a step, we are right on the edge of the mountains. I could probably walk like an hour north and I'd be climbing into the wilderness just like that. But of course we are not climbing into the north, into the wilderness. We are going to Saffron Indian Cuisine. This does look like a very beautiful place, especially with the sunset coming down and casting everything in light. Clearly, this should not be the last trip I make to Beitou. And as luck would have it, there actually is another Michelin restaurant almost right next to Saffron that we could check out at some point. So Clearly, we have another expedition to make at some point. But for now, dinner awaits. It is 5:45 or so, and we are only a 2-minute walk from the restaurant, so I will see you there. Ooh, I can smell the spices from outside. It's probably a very good sign. Alright, from how cozy this place looks, I definitely won't be able to talk in my video inside, so I'll take my shots and I will see you after dinner.
1 hour later.
Oh my gibbity gosh, what a meal that was. So it's currently a little before 7 o'clock. I spent about an hour eating, and you'll excuse me if I talk as I walk, because I'm gonna make my way to the bus stop. That will take me up to the hot springs I was talking about, and maybe we can sneak that into this video as well. That's right, you're getting a 2-for-1 deal today. Cherish it. Anyways, Saffron Indian cuisine. Another win for Michelin, but also a very interesting experience in its own way. But I'll get to that in a second. First of all, the basics. As you can tell, the restaurant was very beautiful. Everything was, perfectly in its place. It was very cozy. Service was good too. They kept my water constantly refilled, which, I appreciate because I always drink a lot of water when I'm out at a restaurant. And pretty much 30 seconds after I sat down, I had my little complimentary papadums. I've always sort of been fascinated by papadums. They have this very pungent, spice-forward, Indian taste, I guess. Like, I never expect the flavor to be what it is when I start snacking on them, but I always appreciate it by the end. Now, the meal also came with 3 little condiments that you are allowed to refill if you run out. There was this slightly spicy green sauce, which I think was mint forward. We got some pickled onions, and we got what I think was some sort of yogurt or cottage cheese or something of that nature. All good, all tasty. Feel free to put it on your naans and your papadums and your whatever throughout the night. It will all do you very well. Also, pause for a sec. Check out this temple. Wow, that's an awesome temple. I swear, there are too many cool temples everywhere I go. I just want to see them all. Also, looks like we have some kind of pop-up market right across the street as well. Man, if only I didn't just eat a massive dinner, this would be a fun thing to explore. Looks like we're in some place called Tianmu, which I don't know if that's like a small sub-district or if it's just like a community name. But regardless, this is a nice little flea market here, so be aware this exists if you ever come over. Anyways, back to Saffron. Let's get to the food. Now, this is where the interesting part comes in, because the food was good. Don't get me wrong, it was very tasty. I'm not gonna come down and start screaming that Michelin betrayed me. The food was good. At the same time, though, it was also a little bit, I guess, fusion-y. Like, for whatever reason, every dish I ordered didn't just feel Indian. It felt Indian plus some other Western cuisine mixed in there somewhere. I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if I just happened to pick the most Western-alike dishes on the menu, but either way, it sort of threw me for a loop. So here's what I mean. For my appetizer, I got the onion bhaji. Now, onion bhaji is sort of like an onion latke. It's these very thinly shaved strands of onion battered together as like a pancake and fried. It's super good. It's like a giant mixed up onion ring consisting of lots of tiny little strands of onion rings stuck together in this one big thick, sticky block of pancake. And for whatever reason, the flavor profile my mind kept coming back to as I was eating was bloomin' onion. Like the Outback Steakhouse bloomin' onion. That's the taste memory that I kept returning to. And don't get me wrong, it was delicious, but it was sort of interesting having this almost like American fast food diner experience, but elevated with Indian spices and such. Also, good lord, these things were huge. If you come with 2 people, just order one of these as an appetizer and split it. It'll be perfectly fine. Anyways, the entrees came pretty quickly after that. I got some butter naan to go with my curry. As you might expect, it was a very nice butter naan. It was moist, it was succulent. It was like you could almost see it dripping as I took it out of the bowl. bowl. Fun fact, my table was actually positioned right next to the tandoor station where the chef was, cooking all the chicken tikka and all the breads in the tandoor oven. I did not really have any great shots of him working, sadly, as you can probably tell. But it was sort of nice knowing that the magic was happening right behind me. Anyways, my main course was lamb Rajasthani, which according to the menu was lamb cooked in the style of the Indian province of Rajasthan, or Rajasthan, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's a big northern province in India. Apparently the chef is from there, and this lamb is cooked in the style that they cook it there. And this was where I really started to notice how Western the meal felt as well, because, slurping down this delicious lamb, don't get me wrong, it was absolutely delicious, it was tender, it was juicy, it was tasty, but the sauce that it came in, like this thick, rich, brown gravy that it came in, I just could not shake the impression that I was eating Swedish meatballs. Like, how Swedish meatballs are served with that, super rich brown gravy? This was the exact eating experience I was getting, but with chunks of lamb instead of, big balls of ground up meat. And it was not just the color, to be clear. The flavor profile felt very similar in the moment. And that's just fascinating, isn't it? Like, how did a flavor that similar to Sweden end up in a northern province of India? The world is a crazy place, I tell ya. So then came dessert, which was apple halwa, and if I thought the meal was Western before, oh boy. This really was just an apple crisp or an apple crumble, with the oats and the slow cooking and the scoop of vanilla ice cream on top. The only difference is instead of just being sliced, the apples had been shredded, and that made the crumble, the crisp, whatever you want to call it, a lot easier to eat because you were scooping up, these thin shreds of apple macerated in syrupy goodness mixed up with all the oats and the crunchy stuff. I have a lot of nostalgia attached to apple crisp. My grandmother used to make it for me and my brother all the time after school, so that put me right back home. But again, that's, my appetizer felt American, my entree felt Swedish, and then my dessert felt American as well. I don't know, somehow I must have picked the 3 most Western dishes on the menu completely by accident. Obviously, there's a lot about Indian cuisine that I still don't know, so it was sort of fun seeing this side of it that I was not aware of before. But now let's get to the big question. Would I recommend checking out Saffron Indian cuisine for yourself? And the answer is yes, with a couple caveats. Most obviously, there's the location. If you just want, a nice Indian dinner, there are countless places back down in main Taipei. If you want to get to Saffron, you have to take a bit of a trek all the way up to Beitou district, which is not always the most convenient thing to do. And that goes double for the price, because this place is way more expensive than, for example, at Taj Indian. With Taj, the most expensive dishes were like 450 NTD, and if you played your cards right, you could very easily scrape together a satisfying lunch or dinner for 500, 600 NTD at most. Meanwhile, you'd be hard-pressed to find a single, even appetizer at Saffron that goes for under 300. And stacked all together for 1 appetizer, 1 entree, 1 naan, and 1 dessert, the total was 1,573 NTD. For context, that is somewhere around $50 USD for 1 person, which, is maybe the kind of price you'd expect if you were going to an Indian restaurant in America. But for Taiwan, that's pretty hefty. So yes, you should go to Saffron. The meal was delicious, but it should definitely be for a special occasion, not as just a quick bite of Indian. If you're just in the mood for a casual Indian lunch or dinner, Taj is your best bet. It's cheaper, it's closer, it's more convenient in basically every way. But if you want to take a little expedition and shill out a little more dough for something special, then yeah, Saffron will definitely treat you right. With that said, I'd think the bus is almost here, so if you will bear with me for a little longer in this video, I will see you at the hot springs. Alright, the bus has dropped us off, and we are definitely in the thick of it now, my guys. So there's a stretch of land right at the top of Beitou district that sort of pokes up north into the mountains like a big old finger. And right now, we are on the very edge of that finger. We are at the point where the city really does just disappear into the mountains, into the countryside, into the rural, very, very top of Taiwan. Literally, I could just walk like 10 minutes north if I could find the right path, and I would be hiking from then on, basically. But tonight is not for night hiking, as terrifying as that would be. Tonight we are going to the Kawayu spa, which is basically right up in this little crook, right up against where the mountains fully take over. This is a place I've just read about on Google Maps while I was researching for this trip, so I don't entirely know what to expect when I get there. I know it's got hot springs, which, you know, is what I'm looking for, so that's good. Other than that, though, we are in uncharted territory. Quite literally, this is my first time being up in this area of Taiwan. So, whatever happens, it is sure to be quite the fun experience. See you there. Oh, and don't worry about the time. If Google Maps is to be believed, these hot springs will be open until 2 in the morning, which is very impressive, you have to admit. As a matter of fact, I think this big neon sign is telling us the way to the hot springs. Oh my gosh. Look at this path, it's beautiful. I'm not even kidding, this is like one of the prettiest sights I've seen in Taiwan. What is going on here? It's also interesting we're going down the mountain. You don't really think of hot springs as, you know, being nestled in the mountain itself, but from the looks of it, this one is more in a valley. Whatever, I'm gonna shut up and let you enjoy the scenery. It's too beautiful for anything else. I feel alive again. So obviously I could not take any pictures inside the hot spring, because one, it was a public hot spring, and two, it was a naked hot spring. So I was surrounded by nothing but naked guys the whole time. But here's how it works. There's a little shower station for you to wash yourself off before you get in the hot spring itself. And then there are 3 main pools. There's the warm pool, the hot pool, and the cold jacuzzi. And you're supposed to, like, go between them in a specific order. I do not know what the specific order is, so I just popped in and out whatever felt best. And that meant spending a lot of time in the warm pool because the hot pool was extremely hot and the cold jacuzzi was extremely cold. But jumping between all those contrasting temperatures, it really does sort of wake your muscles up and relax them in a sense. There's also a sauna, which I spent some time in, that was very nice. And there's, I guess, sort of a lukewarm pool with big shower heads, wherein you just want like big jets of water to scrub all the gunk off your body afterwards or something. Because keep in mind, being hot springs, these pools were full of different minerals. I think the website said sulfur was a big one, which would be interesting because I know sulfur in a lot of contexts is quite bad for the human body. But I guess in this context is a-okay. Anyway, all this is just very roundabout ways of saying I had a lovely time at Kawayu Hot Spring. And I would have a lovelier time if there was any light I could shine on my face. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm taking a different way out than the way I took in, just to show off more of the scenery. Oh my god, look at that background shot behind me. Look at that nightscape. Whoa. I swear, one thing that will never change no matter how much time I spend in Taiwan, I will always love the scenery at the foot of a mountain. So, I am inclined to call today an unqualified success. We had a great museum visit, we had an even lovelier dinner, and we are about as refreshed as we could possibly be in preparation for the next week. Imagine if I just waited. Oh God, get out of my head thoughts, we're going home! All in all, considering this was a cobbled together vacation substitute I threw together on the fly, not too shabby. And now to take the long, long line of bus rides back home and get ready for work in the morning. Because believe it or not, I do have work in the morning. The traveling life, man, it never gets old. Oh, look at this. Looks like there's like another hot spring resort that we passed by right along the way. Look, there's the road we came in, there's the road we just came down, and here's what looks like another hot spring. Figures they're all over the place. If you congregate enough hot springs in the same area, lots of people will want to take advantage of them. So yeah, definitely come try out Kawayu Spa if you're in the area. Just be prepared for public naked baths, because that's what they got. With all that said, thank you so much for joining me at Taiwan Lao Wai. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, smash the bell, share with your friends, all that good stuff. And as always, I will see you next time. 再见. Bye-bye!